Empowered Agents Network.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Jeffrey DeJesus, and I served over 500 families, have several hundred people in my organization. We do over $500 million a year. I'm still an active agent. I've been doing this for 20 years and been very consistent at doing roughly around 20 to 30 million for the last 15 years. And I've helped hundreds of agents succeed in real estate. So without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead in our 26 lesson course. This is the first lesson, so welcome. The first lesson is the mindset of a top producer. So I'm going to take you from one spectrum to the other, and we're just going to go ahead and get you to the top here. How to think and act and perform the best in your business. Okay, so success starts in the mind. I know you've heard this many times. What separates top producers from an average agent? It's just not skill, it's their mindset. Like I said today, before we even got started, once you put your back against the wall, you only have forward to move. And that's what I did. And I really didn't have a choice. When I joined real estate, I didn't think of failure. I didn't think of like, well, am I going to make it? I had no choice. I was a single full-time dad. And if I wanted to get out of the United States Postal Service, then I had to progress forward. And I knew the only way to get where I wanted to go was to go ahead and be successful in real estate. When I got into the post office, within 6 months, I already, in my mind, I was already driving a car just as nice as my boss. At least at that young age, that was my mindset. Well, I'm already driving the car, a better car than my boss in 6 months. And within a year, I became a manager. And from there, I just progressed. And when I became a manager, then I started going from department to department to meet people, build my database, because I knew if I was going to sell real estate, I needed people. How to think, act, and perform at a high level, right? So like I said, at the post office, I went ahead and as a manager, I went from the department to department, building to building, meeting people, adding people to my database. So in my folder, I have this. It says 1,000 of my top people who's going to buy, sell, or refer. So first, the power of your mindset. Your thoughts shape your actions and results. Yes, if you think that you are not succeeding moving forward, guess what? That's what exactly happens. You have to control that mindset. I say it over and over and over. The mindset, right? Fix versus growth mindset. Choose growth, right? Growth all the time. When I go into a party, I'm thinking of growth. When I'm in a work area, I'm thinking of growth. When I'm in the coffee shop, I think of growth. Every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Yes, that's right. And, when there's a setback, you got to keep progressing forward. Another growth scenario, when I was dropping off my daughter to school every day, I would go drop her off. Then I would go into the school because there was a sanctuary there. I would sit there. The kids would come in. The kindergarten, they would sing some hymns and some music with the music teacher. But I would just sit in the sanctuary because that was my form of meditation. And it really calmed me. But, even when I was there at the school, I was always looking to have a conversation, to meet people, to genuinely have a conversation, to maybe meet some nice people that may do business with me in the future. So that was my growth mindset. So something that Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Thoughts that lead to success. I create opportunities. I don't wait for them. I control my schedule, my habits, and my results. Every no gets me closer to yes. Yes, that's the right mindset. And I always like to always remind people that a no is good. I like no's because at least I don't have to think of them no more. Like when I have my paper here and I go ahead and check them off because I do this daily. I just use pen and paper. This is my technology right here. And when I check them off, they say no. I don't have to think of them anymore until maybe 6 months later or a quarter later, depending on what my objective is with that prospective buyer seller. Daily habits of the best in your business. Start the day with a plan. Time blocking is the key. Again, I like to use my pen and paper. And as you can see on the screen here, there are slides. I have my perfect week schedule here. I'm constantly updating it, right? And so there we go. Here's mine. There it is. See? I'm time blocking. I start at 4 a.m. Facebook. Look at that. I wake up to Facebook. 4:30, time with God. 5 a.m. gym. 7, get ready. 7:30, breakfast, and so on and so forth. You know, if you get busy, you can't do it, then the next following day, follow your schedule. But the key is consistency, right? And we're going to get into that. Daily lead generation and follow-up. I'm sure some of you heard me say follow-up is one of my strengths. And, daily lead generation. This is super important. Early beginning of my career, as a single full-time dad, in the beginning it was rough. She went to private school. At least I just had to, in my own determination, and one of my goals was to get my daughter to have a great education. And I said to myself early on, I will get my daughter through a good school, and no matter where we move, whether it was Burlingame, Daly City, and wherever it was, I kept her in one school. And that was my own personal goal. And there were some times when I couldn't pay the tuition. It was relatively expensive, especially for a full-time single parent. Excuse me. And I remember those times. And so what I did is I got good at lead generation and follow-up. And that's what really sparked and really exploded my business. So next one here, consistency, self-improvement through reading, coaching, and training. If you never had a coach, you should try getting a coach. Reading, excellent. I've always read books. This is actually one of my keys to becoming successful was I read regularly. I still do, and I just restarted it again. I have an audio book. My daughter is now living internationally, so for us to spend time together, we read 3 days a week. She reads the Bible, I read a self-help book, and we take turns on reading a chapter. And so it's a great way for us to read. I mean, it really helps me. I try to convey a positive message to my daughter by the books that I choose, and then she reads the Bible, which is something that we enjoy to learn. Next thing, high performance strategies. Know your numbers, set and track goals. You don't have to get real fancy with this. Just doing, let's say 5 a day, and that could be new and follow-ups. 5 a day. I mean, if you did that 5 days a week, that's 25. That's over 100 contacts a month. 100, right? 25, 5 a day times 5 is 25 times 4. That's 100. 100 possible connections a month. Someone's bound to buy and sell something from you. But guess what? I know real estate agents are not even doing that. And if you really wanted to go to another step, take that and put 10 a day, 15 a day, 20 a day. Okay. You don't have to get fancy with all kinds of different types of KPIs and then way to track these. Here's a tracker right here. Okay. A daily tracker. this has an old goal, but this is something that's just great. It just marks off how many hours you're doing, past clients, new contacts, lead follow-up, and it just talks about like what you sent out, and this is really detailed. You don't have to get all this fancy, but it's a good way to track. Maybe you could utilize one of these, and then you're just tracking how many calls you're making. Then since you do it every day, you say, what, I want to add in how many handwritten letters am I sending out using this, and then the next time you could just continue to improve upon your daily prospecting. Okay. Master communication and negotiation. Build and maintain strong relationships. I always say you're going to build strong relationships. Most of my clients are between 55 and 90 because I'm a listing professional. That's what I focus on. I like to stay in touch with them through handwritten cards, right? I have them all over in my left drawer here. I have my stamps. I like to pick the stamps where it looks like they're most likely going to open it. I like to get famous people, Elvis Presley, animals, because sometimes, you ever pick up some stamps at Costco, they look almost generic. Well, because I like to get the highest probability of someone opening the mail, I like to get the ones like this. This one is manatees. This one's hummingbirds, but like I said, I usually like to get dinosaurs or cartoons, stuff, and then I throw in maybe a newsletter. Came down with the cough. All right, building relationships is the key to this business. Okay, we're in a contact sport, contact business. Fear is the #1 success killer. Fear of failure. Every top producer has failed before. Rejection is part of the process. Learn from it. Reframe fear as fuel for growth. So fear, I mean, we all have it. I mean, I still have jitters when I pick up the phone. I'm going to, call a new prospect, but I just go ahead and do it and just worry about it when the person picks up the line. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. That's with Winston Churchill. All right, next. Small actions create big results. Yes, as I sort of touched up on this earlier. Show up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Yes, I know this. Like today, I mean, I came down with the cold or a cough, a dry cough. Ever since yesterday, Super Bowl Sunday. Next here is consistency builds trust with clients. Consistency. Discipline turns action into habits. Habits turn into success. Yes, having a regular daily habit. If anything you do, the habit that I want you to have is lead generation and follow-up. Because if you could just do that, if you're disorganized, you're not writing down anything, but if you could at least lead generate and follow up, you could do, a pretty good amount of sales. And the more you could get organized, you do it consistently, then you really could start snowballing and build some serious momentum. No excuses, only results. We're moving on. Stop blaming the market, interest rates, or competition. Right now, 2024 was tough. The statistics were that 70% of agents didn't sell a home. I hope you weren't part of that. And if you were, you should be determined 2025, you will not have the same results. But, whatever the market is, we got to continue to move forward. There are people buying and selling. Okay. Take full responsibility for your growth and results. Success is in your hands. Act like it. Right. So just keep moving forward. No excuses. I mean, yes, interest rates are a little bit different from 2 years ago. That's what it is. Deal with it. There's a lot of people still buying, still people selling. Okay. Your roadmap to a top producer. Okay. Identify and change limiting beliefs. Implement one new habit a week. Commit to personal and professional growth. Okay. Write down 3 mindset shifts that you will apply today. take these, you come on here every Monday on our Real Estate Edge and do apply these things. Take this serious because we don't come on here Monday just to sort of listen. We got to have some action, start making it happen. Your mindset, your future. I picked up a moving truck, and I want to tell you about the story. So when I first got into the business, I think it was around 2000 when I really started investing in my business. I got into business a little bit earlier, but in 2007 or so, I joined Remax, and one of the managers said, well, before that, I asked myself, how can I be a top producer? And I looked and I said, man, look at that broker. Man, they've been in the business forever. They were the brokers at Century 21 at the time. And I remember asking myself, how can I get there? And I said, how can I give the perception of success, right? So I ended up buying a moving truck, a U-Haul truck. And at that time, the market was shifting. If you remember in 2008, 9, that the market was shifting. It was on a downward. So I ended up buying a truck. I got a big, giant truck that could move a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And so I put my picture on there. And then the slogan, I asked my manager at Remax, I said, what slogan would be good, would be attractive? We came up with the slogan, free truck, free movers, free pizza when you buy and sell with me. It actually was a pretty good hit. People know me for the pizza thing, right? And I put my daughter, my dog on there. And within a year, I was perceived as a top producer. Perception, right? I mean, in our business, it's all about marketing and perception. But I had to do the action behind it. But that was just a story I wanted to change because I was determined to become a top producer. And ever since then, I was a top 5 in any company I was with. I was with Better Homes and Garden. There's 400 agents there. I was at Remax. I got number 2 3 times in a row because the number 1 was this Russian lady. She was just, her and her husband were just amazing. Like in 6 months, she could just sell hundreds of homes. It was crazy. But, it inspired me. That kept me going. So start thinking, acting, and performing like a top producer today. That is just the key. Go out there, put your shoulders back, not arrogantly, but with confidence. Pass out business cards, I mean, I know business cards are old school, but guess what? They still work. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on every week.